Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Every Day is a Train Wreck. I'm your host, Marley Major, and I've got a great guest. I seem to be on a run lately with lawyers. I love lawyers, maybe because I secretly really wish I were a lawyer. Probably would have done very well, I think, because I do like to fight. Anyway, on another note, we can find out if fighting is what it's all about. So our guest today is Jason Ingber, and Jason was actually referred to me randomly by my lawyer. We've got a case I can't wait to talk to you about, but I can't at the moment. But we've got a mediation hearing for somebody I'm suing on Monday. And that's going to be very juicy, believe me, you guys, full of fraud and mischief.
Well, then you're not going to be able to talk about it after you settle because they're
pause. Oh, yes, I will, because I said to Avi, who's working at the law firm, is one that referred Jason. I said, one thing I will not do unless it is a full settlement with every cent of attorney fees with. I said, the one thing I will not do is sign a confidentiality agreement. And he thinks that her lawyer is dumb enough to not realize that they should ask for it. So we'll see, right? It'll be live on the show when we say, hi, Jason.
It's pretty standard stuff. They're going to make you sign it.
It's totally standard, but I'm not going to sign it unless they pay the whole thing. Otherwise, I'm just going to pay Avi to keep slugging it out. I don't really give two shits, to be honest with you. So on another note,
if it's
Jason,
a publicly available lawsuit, then why can't we talk about it?
Well, let's just say that right now, since I'm trying to behave and follow my counsel's instructions, I'm not going to talk about it today and get myself in all kinds of hot water. We'll just wait a little bit. Then maybe we'll all have a dish fest about it. Because this is a good one. This is some shady stuff. I mean, it's kind of like about catfishing and everything too, like how people present themselves one way and it's just totally different, right? Like, I mean, it's like I get lying on your LinkedIn profile, like, oh, hey, I was really there for 2 years and 6 months instead of kind of 3 years, but not like where you're the total scam artist, but I guess they're everywhere. So Jason, that's quite an intro. We just had a whole conversation there about your intro. So tell us though, because you've got a podcast, tell us about you, tell us about the class action. Let's jump in.
I've got a bunch of class actions going on. What do you mean by
which ones?
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the catfishing. I won't bring up the lawsuit again. I'm curious, are you single? Are you single or married?
I'm between husbands currently.
Between husbands? I've never heard that phrase before.
Of course you haven't, because you never met me. And not that I'm going to have another one. We'll see. But yes, the rate I'm going, I'm going to be Elizabeth Taylor. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So have you ever been catfished online? It sounds like you've done some online dating, I presume, if you're between husbands.
No, I've never, thank God. I mean, I'm always like married or in a serious relationship. There's never like any seeming like 10 minutes. But Catfish is like what the show is called, Catfish, I think. It's like my favorite show. I think I've watched 99% of the episodes. I am obsessed with Tinder Swindler, Inventing Anna, Catch Me If You Can. I just am absolutely fascinated by how so many people get duped. I mean, like, even when you do your due diligence, right? Whether it's in business or just in your personal life. But yeah, I mean, I know one of my friends got catfished on one of the episodes we talked about it. The private investigator was on, and this guy totally impersonated somebody who was working at the White House, etc. She was a beauty queen, so maybe the intelligence wasn't totally there. But yeah, I mean, he ended up taking all her money, like $1 million, and then putting a hit out on her with the Mexican mafia. He got a long time in jail, but then he did get released. So he's roaming around now with some kind of furlough program, getting his law degree or whatever at UC Irvine, which I find fascinating.
Yeah, I have one particular lawsuit that is interesting, worth talking about, especially to a native Californian like you. I actually just did someone else's podcast, has 150,000 hits, just me talking about this lawsuit. I presume, yeah, it's going to do well on here too, and you have such a great dedicated fan base. But you have such an interesting story with between husband comments. Like, you have good advice on what it is to be in a relationship. What does it mean to be in love? And like, that's more interesting than, I mean, my clients are going to kill me. I represent 1,000 different people. In connection with suing, I'll just give a brief overview. Toyota created a car that runs on hydrogen, not gas, not electric, hydrogen fuel.
Oh, that's why you had something on your Instagram or something that said like hydrogen doesn't work or whatever.
Yes.
Right? Okay, got it. Okay,
Yes.
keep going.
Hydrogen doesn't work. The fuel is not reliable. So they sold thousands of these cars. I represent 1,000 drivers. There's a couple other law firms that are doing it. And we've been in discussions now. Finally, Toyota's starting to come to the table. Hyundai told me to go fly a kite.
Well, I'm told that about 7 times a day. So welcome. I'm glad to hear somebody else experiences it. Yeah.
And that's that. I mean, there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of interesting pieces to why Toyota's doing this. What's their motivation for doing something that will absolutely fail? They're a very wealthy company, so they could afford to make stupid decisions every once in a while.
Well, no. Okay. And I promise you, I'll give you the dirt stuff in a minute, but I do want it for a sec because Toyota wasn't Toyota one of the ones that initially started Six Sigma?
Like I don't know what Six Sigma is.
Okay, so Six Sigma is this whole productivity thing where, and I'm 99% sure, I mean, I got a lot of business books on this shelf, but I'm pretty sure Toyota was behind Six Sigma where, anyway, I know it's a huge Japanese company that was. So Six Sigma is where you basically measure every step of a process, like making a car, right? And then you analyze it to the nth degree in order to make it more efficient because then, of course, it's like exponential. So if you shave 10 seconds off this task and 10 seconds off that task, et cetera, et cetera. And it's kind of based on Kaizen, which I don't know that I'm pronouncing that properly, but it's continuous improvement. So where you're always kind of cutting the bottom layer of staff or people or whatever, hopefully that things are circling up. And so that's the comment that I got stuck with when you said they created a product that they knew was going to fail or something, because that's exactly opposite of what they purport to do. So what's up with that?
Yeah, that's actually really beautiful insight by you because they did invent that. Most automotive factories are based off of Toyota's automotive factories because of exactly what you said. And you'll note that, let's say Mustang or these American companies, they'll make new models, like completely revamp a car in the span of 1 or 2 years. And Toyota will add like 5 horsepower to the new Lexus and barely change the look of it because they operate in such a very slow improvement fashion. And they think in 25-year blocks. So
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's quizzical why they did this. And there's some theory about the fact that Japan has very big holdings in liquefied natural gas. So hydrogen is not green. That's really what's driving a lot of this too, is that hydrogen fuel is not green. So,
but I thought, wait a second, isn't hydrogen like, okay, obviously I'm a party planner, I'm not a chemist, but isn't hydrogen like water?
Well, it's the H2 and H2O. So hydrogen isn't water, but it is super abundant in the planet, and it is there's a plethora of it, but the way that they're making it is by steamer forming methane. So the very fossil fuel that's damaging our environment, they're just heating it up and then isolating the hydrogen, not doing carbon capture on the rest of it, and then converting that to usable fuel. The whole thing makes no sense. Why aren't they doing the
carbon capture? Why aren't they doing carbon capture on it?
That you'd have to ask them. I couldn't answer you on why they're doing really any of this. I'm not in the room with them, but this has been quite a ride.
When did they start selling these cars?
Started selling them about 2016. Yeah, 2016.
Okay.
And they still sell them.
What?
Yeah.
With the hydrogen.
With the hydrogen. You can go buy one at Toyota Santa Monica right now. I pretended to be a customer at Toyota Santa Monica, and they were totally running game on me. And I just wanted to see.
Okay, wait. What's running game? This is awesome. Okay, give me some intel. What's running game?
Well, we all run game. I'm sure you've gotten some corporate people to use you as a party planner. I'm sure some of the time you're kind of blustering or bluffing and getting them to like agree to do things.
Okay, 100%. Everybody runs game. But I want to talk about your Santa Monica Toyota running game.
So I walk in there and I pretend that I'm looking for a Lexus or a high-end Camry. And then I I needed to bait them. They didn't bring it up on their own. But I said, oh, don't you guys have a Mirai? A Toyota Mirai? And then they went, oh, yeah.
Ooh, nice.
And I said, and they start telling me how great it is. And I said, isn't it difficult to fuel though? I read somewhere that it's a little, they're like, do not believe that. Fuel is really easy to get. And people are struggling to even find a station that's open because there's only about 20 stations in the entire California that have this fuel. And the stations are down more than they're up pumping. And the fuel comes out really, really cold. So it'll clasp onto the car. And people will get stuck at stations for that reason. And they just neglected to mention any of that. And it's a pretty sad situation because they duped a lot of people using their own brand.
And about how many cars have they sold? Do we have any idea?
They sold about 10,000 of them. So it's a really small amount of cars. And they knew that. I've never heard of a company doing such a small run of cars, right? They sold 10,000. I mentioned that they started selling them in 2016. In the span of that amount of time, they sell about 275,000 cars a year in California alone.
Whoa.
So since they started selling the Mirai about 10 years ago, they've sold about 3 million cars. So 3 million, you're talking about 10,000 cars. I mean, this is like 1% of 1% of the cars. So it's a very small amount of cars. That's why we've gotten some media attention. KTLA5 just did a hit piece on Toyota about 10 days ago on this. ABC 10 up in Sacramento, the Sacramento Bee, and various
the Sac
blogs.
Bee. We love them at the Sac Bee. Yeah.
Sharon Bernstein. Shout out Sharon Bernstein. She did a whole piece. It was on their Sunday edition. So we've gotten a fair amount of press, and it does bother Toyota, the press, but it's never reached the national level because the scandal is too small.
Interesting. But are the cars mostly
we are
California?
International with this podcast right now because this podcast
100%.
is international. Yeah. So Toyota will be shaking in their boots all the way to Tokyo.
Oh, no question they will be. And I have a publicist and all kinds of channels to promote. So we'll see. But are the cars only sold in California? No.
They are only sold in Tokyo and California. And that's because there's no fuel outside of California. Part of what they lie and tell people is like, oh, yeah, fuel will be available everywhere. You're getting in on the next big thing. It's like the Prius before the Prius.
Oh, well, by the way, you should listen to the podcast, the one about the Tesla to nowhere, because yours truly freaking I'll keep the person out of it, but was convinced to drive in a Tesla from Southern California to Sun Valley, Idaho, when they just came out. And oh, by the way, you go through Nevada, and there at the time were like no stations, and you can barely get the charge from the last station to the next station. And they're like, oh yeah, now obviously things have improved since, but it was like we had to go 53 miles an hour in order not to run out of charge while everybody else is going like 75 average. I mean, it took us 21 hours. Oh, Lord have mercy. I was not a happy camper. So I have no patience for stations that don't exist. How much are these cars about?
They're about 60 grand a pop, but they give manufacturer rebate of 20.
Cheap.
No. And they give a manufacturer rebate of about like 25 grand, but still it's expensive. You could get them used for like 15 grand, because no one really wants them. But this is a crazy situation.
Probably get them. How did you get involved with this?
This woman calls me up. Her name is Callie Williams. She was the first person. She calls me up in February of 2023. And she says, Jason, I got this car and it's cooking my ass.
No.
And it runs on hydrogen. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And it was cooking her ass because the first generation of this car, the seat heaters didn't turn off when you turn them on. And so she'd be in Northern California it would literally cook her ass. So she's telling me all this and it just sounded so crazy that I didn't want to get involved. And I thought for sure that there was some like disclaimer
saying we can cook your rump on a moment's notice?
No,
fry your Frenchies?
Some disclaimer that like, don't sue us. Hydrogen is too new. And they sold it to her with no disclaimer whatsoever. They sold it to her like it was a regular car. So then I said, okay, there's something here. And then I found an angry subreddit of like 100 people that bought this car. That they got me into a Telegram with like 200 people. So right off the bat, I had like 300 clients, like just from that and word of mouth. And then I did a bit more of like just suing Toyota, and people started flocking to me because I was the first one to do it. After that, a lot of people joined, and there's like 2 other law firms that I work with, and I give them a lot of information, and they've now been in the thrust of this too, and they represent a couple hundred people in their own right. But we represent
now.
1,000.
Why would you give another law firm the information? Because just explain that to people. Because you want all of you guys to win?
Yeah, I want all of us to win. I think that if we're all sharing information, it makes Toyota more nervous that the cases are stronger. And I had this insider that was part of the California Fuel Cell Hydrogen Partnership. So he worked for a university where Toyota bullied them out of the market, and the university had their own hydrogen pump, and Toyota bullied them out of the market. And so once I interviewed this guy and I got his affidavit, I knew that really made them a villain, and the other law firms needed to know about that. And once they knew about that, they had more fight, they had more pep in their step, and it just elevates the case value for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm such a good person. It's just it's a business decision ultimately. And I have a great relationship with them now. Like, it's great.
Do they just jump on the bandwagon and then reach out and say, hey, can we share stories?
I reached out to them. I emailed them. I saw one of them literally copy pasted most of my lawsuit when they filed theirs. And I was fine with that. Lawyers do it all the time. I just said, hey, I have more information for you. And they hopped on a conference call, and then we've since gone to dinner many times, all of us lawyers that are working these cases.
And what kind of lawyer gets into a class action? Is it like the young and hungry one? Is it the ambulance chaser? Is it the, like, just if they happen to be passionate about the subject? Like, what's the profile of the lawyer?
I mean, I'm all of those things.
Okay. Fair.
The reason
What's the average, though?
The average class action lawyer, it's hard to know. There's so many. There's 100,000 lawyers in Los Angeles County alone. Probably about 75% of those do litigation, and half of those are on the side of representing people. So you're talking about tens and tens of thousands of people. I don't know.
Right, the ones you know that do class action, what are they? Can you see any common denominators?
You got to be hungry and entrepreneurial and willing to take risks and willing to go at it for the long haul. You know, it's been 2 years since I've been litigating this case. I haven't made a nickel. I've spent a couple $100,000 on the case. So that's a little bit crazy.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think they'll take back the cars and they'll give everybody their money back.
That's it?
That's it.
You don't. So then how are you going to get paid?
I'll get a percentage based on that. I'll get them to pay me my fee separately.
Got it.
Maybe they'll pay a little bit for people that had real problems. Like, some people, it's their second or third car, but some people, it was really their primary car and they got suckered into it, and they really had terrible stories of times where they were tremendously inconvenienced from this car, safety issues, other things. And they should pay more for those folks, some money on top. And we get a percentage. I have a pretty good relationship now with Toyota's counsel, so I'm confident at this point that we're going to be able to. They actually hired a separate firm. So they had one firm that was just killing me in litigation, paperwork, drowning me. And then they hired another firm. They brought in a separate guy just to deal with me to try and settle the case. He's a good guy.
You know you've got it. Oh, good. Okay, now, so even the ass chopper, ass fryer, she's not going to get a little more, even though she's...
Oh, Callie Williams will get more. Callie for sure will get more. Callie had to have the fire department come release her from her vehicle twice because it was stuck to the pumps. Callie will get more. A lot of people will get more, but you know, the point isn't to just squeeze them for every dollar, because on the flip side, Toyota could drag this out another 4 or 5 years if they wanted to. So we want to make sure that people could get their relief because people were making very expensive monthly payments on this car that they don't really have an ability to use. It's not like someone broke their leg 2 years ago and it's like it doesn't matter how long it takes anymore because the injury is what happened. This is ongoing problems. So I'm fielding 30 calls a week from our clients. What is happening? Oh my gosh, can I stop paying this car? So there's an incentive for me to end this as soon as possible.
So in one sense, it's kind of like, you really have to balance a lot of things. That would definitely be part of the profile because you can't be too much of a jerk either, because otherwise you could just be like, hey, listen, I'm going to hold out till I can get the most amount for your fees or whatever. If all they're going to get is the money back for the car or something.
Well, what do you think is fair? How much? It sounds like you think I'm doing them dirty. How much do you think people should be getting?
I didn't say you're doing them dirty. I'm a very practical businesswoman who gets that things are in negotiation and usually both sides are somewhat unhappy.
Sounds like you're going to do well in your mediation or whatever upcoming in your settlement because you get the.
I can't wait. I told Avi, I said, I'm going to get my freaking hair blown out and whatever. He's like, it's in a Zoom room. I'm like, I don't give two shits. This is going to be the freaking, I'm ready.
It 100% makes a difference. I had a client that was missing teeth and I was like, you are not going to be on camera on the Zoom. I had a mediation with the person. Sweet, sweet man. I really love him to death and we did really well. But I think everything makes a difference, you know, so you got to be strategic like that. Good for you. You should totally get your...
Well, we deposed her and she admitted in the deposition to fraud and that she lied, like flat out said, yes, at the end, I mean, Avi's like grilling her. And then she's like, yes, I did that. So he's like, so you're saying blah, blah, blah. Yes. I mean, I'm like, okay, that's why I really can't wait for this mediation. Cause I'm like, what is the mediation guy? I mean, he's like, well, he's going to try to rough up both sides. And I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, I blocked it off for many hours. He's like, you're not going to need to block it off for many hours. It's not, I mean, the guy's going to be like rushing through it and it's not even going to be an hour. I'm like, well, I'm going to be available to let this go. But I'm like, well, how does the guy mediate a thing where the person admits, yeah, it committed fraud?
Let's transition, if we can at this point, to I want to hear about your advice for marriage, things that you learned along the way.
Yeah, okay. One other question about Toyota, and then I will do that. When do you think it's going to settle?
I could tell you that I don't think Hyundai will ever settle. Hyundai sold even less of these cars. They sold like 2,000 of the cars.
Yeah.
And we represent about 50 to 100 drivers. I haven't checked. But they're never going to settle. They're going to make me... I used to represent Hyundai. They're a very stubborn company. And they will make me try a few of these cases. And with those cases, I'll hose them down. Like, they're being unreasonable, I will be unreasonable. They screwed people. They sold these cars without disclosures. I'm going to take them to trial and ask for every penny that I think that these people can get, which is like triple the amount of the money they put into the car, wiping the loan balance, and every penny of my attorney's fees and costs.
All right. So you don't think Hyundai is going to settle, but you think, when do you think Toyota might?
I'm not sure. I'll take your cue and not talk so much about settlement.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I get it. Okay. But let's just tell Toyota that you're willing to wait. There you go. Okay, Toyota. And can't you pay like a ton of protesters to go out front and just say hydrogen sucks or something? I don't know. I'd have
I looked into that, but it would cost like tens of thousands of dollars to stage a protest. I wanted to do it. I said that my money would be better spent litigating the case, but we did do 2 protests. We had a protest up in City Hall in Sacramento and a protest at City Hall in Los Angeles. We all got together. There was about 150 of us. KTLA 5 came and covered that. So did ABC 10. So we've done protests.
Why don't you do it on Pearl Harbor Day? I think that'd really F with a few people. Okay. So yes, let's segue. So my advice. Okay. So what is my advice that you're interested in? I'm
curious what point you realize this was a mistake in either of your marriages.
Well, that is a very dangerous question to ask because remember, I have children. So how about if we talk a little bit more generally? instead of
No,
specifics like that.
no.
Well,
The
I mean,
only
I'm not going to sell my kids out for this.
Why? I don't know how it involves your kids. I don't want to put you in a tough position. We don't have to.
Okay, you're saying like, when did I know it was? Because the answer to that with, I've been married twice, and one of them was annulled, granted, but the answer to that with one of them was very early on. And so, it would be like, oh, wow, that's kind of, I would think not a great feeling for a kid. But what I can say is what mistakes I made in the beginning and why you got to really think twice. And I don't think anybody should get married before they're 30. Unless it's because somebody's dying or you need residency, or because I just don't think most people, 99% of people can make that decision until they're at least 30. I just think there are too many things. You just haven't dated enough people. You don't know yourself well enough. You don't know yourself under pressure. You don't know the person under pressure. I think you've got to know the person. I remember somebody said, to marry somebody, you've got to know them for 4 seasons, like, spring, summer, whatever. I think you got to know them for like an hour and a half. Freudian slip. You've got to know them for a year and a half before you get engaged, because too many things can happen. People can just keep up really good appearances. And also when you're younger, you just don't realize how much of an impact things like I love to work, right? I love to work. I have huge financial goals, huge business goals. I spend a lot of time working, blah, 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 blah. Me being with somebody who's not motivated or doesn't work a ton themselves or have high goals or interesting goals or whatever themselves, I'm going to drive them crazy, right? But most importantly, I shouldn't say most importantly, maybe equally importantly, they are going to drive me crazy, because I'm going to be like, what are you doing? Like have more enthusiasm or whatever for what you do. And I don't think people realize how much that affects. I don't think people realize how much it affects, like how in-laws affect so much. I mean, and people have very different ideas with that. Like culturally, some cultures are like, yeah, let's have the mother-in-law live with us. Or, we have kids now. Let's have the grandparents,
Okay, but you're getting too general. You're getting too general. We're going off the rails.
I can be specific. I can tell you some very specific scenarios. Yeah, I can give you some really specific scenarios of people who have almost gotten divorced.
No, I want your specifics. Were you ever in love?
100%. That's my problem. I'm like the kissing bandit. Yeah. Oh yes. But my first husband was the first person I was in love with. I never even had a boyfriend before. I decided to marry my first husband, and I have to say it that way because I met him when I was in school. I was 19 and he was 20 years older than I was. And, and I just was like, I interviewed him for a class. People that have listened to my podcast before, certainly know this story. But yeah, I interviewed him for a class, and I decided right there, I took one look at him and decided I needed to marry him. And that was, going to be challenging. I was beginning of my junior year in college, and he's, as I say, 20 years older than I was like, how am I even going to see this guy again? So I had to be I had to think on my feet. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So I was 100% in love with him.
That age gap, the fact that it didn't bother you is very interesting.
Not only did it not bother me, in those days, you read paper magazines. And I remember going back and forth, from that Christmas break of my junior year, I remember reading, I think it was Cosmopolitan or Glamour magazine. And it was May, December romances. And I remember cutting it out and having my whole strategy planned about how this was going to work. Oh yeah, I'm a big goal setter. I had the whole thing visualized, everything. Yeah, and it worked. I did close the deal. I got engaged the month after graduation. So,
did you stay married to that person?
Thank you. I just told you earlier I'm between husbands, so obviously not. And then I also told you I've had another. No, husband,
meaning did it stick? Did you have a kid with that one? Did you?
Oh yes, it stuck. Oh yeah, it stuck. And he and I are to this day. He and I to this day are the closest friends. I don't know that he would say that about me. I think he would, but I absolutely adore him. He is somebody I count on. I don't think either one of us could be married to each other, but we're great parents, meaning not that I'm saying I'm a great mom. I'm saying that we're great together doing the best we can. But he's a great dad. He is basically like Mr. Mom. Like,
how did it not concern you or your family or have that?
Oh my! Whoa! I didn't say it didn't concern my family. My family was shitting. They don't even talk like that. My family is very not. I'm not talking politics. I'm just saying very traditional. Very like we're Catholic. We actually still go to church on Sunday. All those things. So for my sheltered little life from Pasadena, California, and then to be like a junior and I'm going to marry this guy, and they're like, have you been on a date like besides the junior prom? Like, I didn't know. No, they were losing their minds over this. But I'm like, once again, like a train going through the station. So it was like, hey, listen, and a couple of my mom's friends who are Greek, and we have friends from like all over the place and are different cultures. And like, well, in Greece, that's not that big a deal. I think they kind of clung to the advice that would sort of get them through it, and they just said, she's very strong-willed. You got to be careful because otherwise she'll just elope. So either kind of, that's that. What do? You keep them sort of close and not have them run off to Vegas and not speak to you again. I think it worked.
Would you kill how old's your daughter?
100%.
17?
I would kill them all. I'd kill them all. I told my son right now is 30 and he's getting married in October. And I told him, you wait till you're 30 to get married. I will pay. I will help. I will do pretty much anything. You get married before you're 30. Like, I almost don't know you just because I've made so many mistakes. Right. Then the other two, then I have a 19-year-old. It's going to be a sophomore in college. And then my 17-year-old daughter is going to be a senior. And I tell both of them all the time. Like, she's like, oh, well, so-and-so has a boyfriend. And I'm like, I'm not even interested in hearing about a boyfriend for you. First of all, she would eat them for lunch. I mean, she's like a pterodactyl wrapped in a crocodile saran wrap. Okay. She is a force to be reckoned with. And God bless my middle son, is very, very smart. But I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of autistic people, so maybe it's not. But I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I say to my daughter, her name is Coco, I say, listen, would be the equivalent of you dating Stanley. I mean, this kid, he has got an IQ of 10,000 and can't find his way out of a paper bag. Honest to God, he can't board one plane to the other if he has got a transferring flight. Even when I'm on the same flight with him, this actually happened last summer. And I was like waiting for him at the end because I was in first and he was in coach. And I'm literally waiting. Granted, it was a big plane, but we landed in Madrid and we didn't have much time. And this I'm standing there waiting for him and he somehow doesn't see me, gets by me. And I mean, it was a total cluster. I was like, you couldn't have been on drugs because we were on the same plane together.
Was that age gap relationship? Did you have the best sex in that relationship? What is the best sex in your opinion?
It was way later, but I can't necessarily say that. I can't blame that on either husband. That might have just been me kind of figuring it out. Remember, I was, hello. I mean, I think sometimes when you're just older and you figure it out, plus you know what you want more. But I was okay. But then there was I dated a guy for 3 years, almost 3 years. Oh, that's a good story. I got text dumped on Cinco de Mayo, which is my favorite holiday. That was
why is that your favorite holiday?
Train wreck. I'm not Mexican.
You're celebrating Cinco de Mayo a lot in Pasadena. Is that?
Because I freaking love Mexican food. Cinco de Mayo, we would always, all of us would go to this one Mexican restaurant. When I was in high school, it was always really fun. Cinco de Mayo is like a throwaway holiday, right? It's like, it's Mexican food and margaritas, and it's just lively and fun and great music. I mean, and there's no expectations. Nobody's thinking like, you didn't give me the right Christmas present. Oh, you didn't, I didn't get to sit next to you at Thanksgiving. I don't know. It's just fun. It's like my favorite. And yeah, but then I got text dumped. That was the one that I was like, would say, oh my God, I was so in love with him. Yeah. But,
you
then you get text dumped
you.
and that, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And by the way, later when I asked him about that, I was like, how could you do that on Cinco de Mayo? Because we had plans even that on Cinco de Mayo. He's like, I totally forgot that it was Cinco de Mayo. And I was like, not that it would have mattered, but yeah.
Is that a iced coffee or a smoothie? It looks like a smoothie.
Smoothie, it's my breakfast. And let the record reflect, it's almost 12:30. It's my breakfast. I haven't had it yet. But in preparation for talking to you, I figured I
what's
need to
in
be
this
on my
movie?
game. Okay, so it's, all the superfood berries, kind of like blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. Then it's got collagen, creatine,
Oh my
colostrum.
God, you're nuts.
Oh no, I got it all in
Creatine?
there. 100%. And
What do you
I'm
need
like the
creatine
one,
for?
I forget. My oldest son told me to do it. And I read it at the time and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Check the box.
You don't
And now
need
the list
creatine.
is
It's
getting...
like extra energy. Is that the type of creatine?
Oh, yeah. I do need extra energy for sure. Look at, hello, I'm going to be a billionaire podcast host. Obviously I need all the energy I can get. I want to go to Santa Monica Toyota and protest for you. I need a lot of energy.
I love you, Marley.
Big plans. I love you too. Oh my gosh, you just made me think of something, which I thought of at the very beginning.
I'm so excited right now.
You have the same name as the text dumper.
Jason Ingber? Or just Jason?
Not Jason Ingber.
Is it me? Am I the person? Is this us falling in love?
You're channeling the text dumper. Wow. That's so funny because when Avi's like, oh, I've got this guy for you. And I was like, okay, great. And then I saw the thing come through. And I was like, oh, how funny. He's got Jason's same name. And then, because for a while, I could never even, by the way, say that name. Even though every restaurant I would go to, they'd be like, hello, I'm Jason. I'm going to be your server today. And I would be like, of course you are. And then it'd be like, you'd need to get your car tires rotated. Not that I've ever done that, but something like that. And it would be, oh, hi. And Jason, he'll be happy to help. And I was like, oh, MFer. Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, I can't believe that's really funny that we're talking about that. And then I just realized
I'm a heartbreaker,
Yes,
that's 100%. Who I am. For sure.
So heartbreaker. Yeah. So are you married together with somebody? No. Have you text dumped anybody?
No.
Ooh, you guys, you have to watch this on YouTube. You got to see his face because he hesitated.
I've texted someone. It's funny you say that. Like, I just had a phone call with someone. Someone said, I'm in love with you. And you said, I don't see it. No, the opposite. Someone had a phone call. My sister's friend said, oh, you should totally have a call with this girl. She's coming to New York. That's where I'm based this summer. And you see if you guys hit it off. And we had this phone call and she was like super low energy on the call.
She needed creatine. Hello. Yeah, keep going.
And then she texts me the next morning. Unfortunately, I don't see this working out, but I wish you all the best. And I'm like, you didn't need to text me. I wasn't going to ever even remember you. Now that she texted me, I'm like, what could possibly have gone right on that call? I was crushing it. I was high energy. I was interesting and interested. And this woman texts me. So I got text dumped. I can relate to you, Marley.
Well, 100%. There's a big difference between 3 years and thinking you're like somebody's the next husband. And okay, but that's really, you know what? I don't like her.
Did you bring up that guy? Did you bring up that guy because he was the best sex?
Yes. Sorry, that's why. Well, of that time, yes. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Let's just. Okay. Yes, we. Yes,
you want to be a billionaire podcaster, you're going to be in the public light. This is the kind of stuff people care about. And
this is the kind of stuff that worries me because this is the kind of stuff that there's enough little things out there that people could, and I could just imagine I'll be like getting my Nobel Peace Prize and my Medal of Freedom Award. And they're going to be like, and she said that so-and-so.
You don't think awesome. So. The president of the United States paid off a porn star and had a convicted felony because of it, and he still won the presidency. I think you're good.
Okay. Call me Stormy. About. Just call me Stormy Daniels. Yeah, that's who we need on the podcast, man. It's freaking Stormy. I would love that. Love it dark and stormy. I am dark and stormy. Yeah, so anyway, that's that. There we go. But I'm kind of annoyed with this. Like, did you respond to the girl? Because I would just tell her to, I'd be like, what?
I just wrote back like, same, thank you, same to you, or something.
Oh, that was good. Same. Oh, good. Okay. What profession was she in?
She's a school teacher.
Oh God, the school teacher. Here we go again. You guys?
Is there a
the
profession of a man that you would never date?
I would love to date a drug runner, but I never would.
A drug runner.
Yes. I
Meaning,
would love to
my
date a guy
friends,
in the mafia.
I was just at our dinner with friends. They're like, we would never date a therapist because then she's like downloading all these people's problems and she's going to bring it home.
No, see, I would want him to bring it home. I'd be like, what happened today, baby? Hit me with it. How crazy was somebody? Don't I look so normal? That's how I would take that. I don't know that I would love dating a beekeeper. I had a beekeeper. Like,
you had a beekeeper?
Yes, I've had a beekeeper. I've unfortunately lost a couple hives. I was not the best beekeeper. And so when my keeper would come, he found that they had mites and it killed the queen. That's a whole, like, I'm sure symbolism of something. But the beekeeper energy, like I saw Meghan Markle has a beekeeper. Ironically, I'm pretty sure that he is the same beekeeper I had. Bless him. And that's a pace that's a little bit slower for me.
When you said you had a beekeeper, I thought you meant had in the biblical sense.
Okay. Okay. Can we please get some comments for this? Does anybody on the planet think that that's what I was implying? Yeah. Okay. No, I did not. No. I mean, what do you think I am? Like some $2 hooker? No, I'm not running around. I'm not running around banging beekeepers and other interesting professions. I mean, okay, let me ask you a question. What career would intrigue you to date? So I just said I'd like to date a drug runner. I'd like to date somebody in the mafia. Like, what about, I will, because I'd like to have them be like, like you listen to the Chases, and like, I don't know, Sammy the Bull, and they get that like raspy voices.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the mafia guys. Do you not know the mafia people?
You want to date?
Okay.
I thought you were just saying a gun runner, and I was like, "Where is this gun runner from?"
No, then I said the gun runner. Well, the gun runner maybe in this case would be a mafioso. No, but I said also like a mafioso.
What did the guy,
John
the
Gotti.
3-year text dumper that you went back in touch with? By the way, I clocked that you're back in touch with him. What did that guy do?
Oh wait, how did you know that?
You said you've since spoken to him.
He worked for a company. His dad started in the insulation business, like construction business. Yeah, well, yes and no, but do you need two of me in a relationship?
Dad's insulation business.
But it was a big company, and quite frankly, in that case, I mean, I wasn't talking like spray foam or whatever with him, right? And remember, as we discussed earlier, it wasn't about that. So I know this is a train that has derailed so far off of a track where it was not a great start anyway.
What tips could you give me?
Yes.
That I could take with me. What made him the best you ever had at the time?
Oh, God bless America. Because it's the classic chick thing. It's like on every, like those movies, Dirty John or any of them where they get captivated and like a guy is dating like 25 women. It's always the same. But he genuinely was genuine about it. But like where he looks at you and they're like looking through you. First of all, he had the most amazing like blue gray eyes. And when he would get upset or something was like challenging for him, I swear they would turn like kind of stormy gray or they'd be like this bright piercing blue. So that kind of like looking through you, paying attention to you. Oh my God. And then the other thing was he kind of he looked a little bit, he's very good looking in my opinion. He looks like James Dean and was kind of like the bad boy, like smoked at the time. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never done a drug in my life. So here's this guy's like the smoker, big boozer. What?
Except creatine.
I guess. Is that a drug? Maybe. I'll have to reform my statement. But he was like that. He kind of had this like boyish, devilish sort of like smirk kind of that I just, oh my God, I would just die. He was totally my type, like style wise. Like he would wear like a polo shirt everywhere, not like necessarily Polo the brand, but like he just was a cute dresser. Like I'm not big on sloppy dressers and stuff like that. And so that was just amazing. It wasn't like he was some It wasn't like fashionable or something notable. He was just, and he was so calm. Everything with me was like fireworks, like, oh my gosh. And then this happened, and then this happened, and this was, somebody took my banana from me in line, and I'd have like 20 minutes of a story, and he'd be like, oh my God, babe, like, wow. He acted like he cared. I mean, yeah. Oh, and then you would just like grab your hand, kind of like you were just like sitting on the couch, and you're just like, oh, I mean, just read Snow White or something. And I'm sure Prince Charming does all the same, or watch Tinder Swindler and do that kind of stuff. Oh my God, you're just hot. And, meanwhile you feel fat and
you're such a romantic.
Oh, I'm a total romantic. How do you think I got myself into all these messes? Yes, of course I'm a romantic. Oh,
what do you think motivated that? Did you like read a bunch of romance? I mean, at 19, you were like, I'm going to marry this human. And then you went out and did it. Like, that's a mix of romance and Machiavellian
psychosis. Here's, what I really think it is? I think because I didn't have a boyfriend in high school, and I would see all the girls like dating these, like, dating a bunch, and I didn't have game like that in high school. Right. Not even in college. I didn't have, now I can say I have game. I can, if I want to close somebody, I could close. I'm not saying they're the best person to close. I'm not saying I could close, whatever, George Clooney. I'm just saying, like, if I want to turn on the charm, I could, I can go up against it. And as I say, my friends did call me the kissing bandit. But where was I headed with that? Oh, I think because it was like one of those things, because I didn't have any practical experience whatsoever going on dates, that the whole thing was such a romantic idea. And remember, I had, like, my parents were like, I had businesses very, very young. My parents, like, I had to study. I was like terrified of my parents. I was like, moom. So the idea of,
you weren't that scared of them.
Yeah, so I sure was. Oh, you can ask anybody. I never drank in college.
You still don't drink. It's in your nature.
No, well, that's because my parents are always very big on that.
Why is this podcast called Every Day is a Train Wreck? That is so, it's like you're manifesting train wrecks every day.
Well, I think I'm more.
You seem really put together. You can't be a party planner.
Okay. A, you don't know me well enough. B, my friends are going to be listening to this laughing. They're going to be like, oh my God, there's so many. Okay, every day is a train. I went to Bali with my friend. There were bats in a cage, and they said you could like play with them. I don't know. And I went in and was playing with them. And my friend is like, no, I'm not going to go play with the bats. And I'm like, there can't be anything wrong, because like they're not going to have them available to play with. I play with them. I come back. I'm in quarantine in the hospital, literally with the sign quarantine in the glass cage. The doctor would come in and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. Oh, shocker. And they're like, well, obviously it probably had to do with the bats. Then I got something that they couldn't figure out. Another time was like dengue fever. They thought I had, what is that? Not encephalitis. What is it? Meningitis. I was in the hospital again with the text dumper. I got a UTI that I ignored because I was chasing my pigs and I fell a couple months before. And so I thought that I hurt my back chasing one of the pigs. And so I was like, oh, that must be it. And then I went on this train ride. And then I was like, oh, it's this stupid pinched nerve from chasing the pig. And then the pinched nerve switched sides, which we know it doesn't do. It turned out to be a UTI. It went septic. I went into septic shock. All my organs failed. I had to get my lungs drained. I got last rites twice. I've had 2 near-death experiences where God told me to go home. I got to the 3 out of the 5 steps. Yeah. So I am kind of manifesting, but these days I'm having a good time. You know what I mean? Because, like,
did you call it every day used to be a train wreck?
Oh, that's right. Every day used to be a train wreck. And then I met Jason and I followed his class action. And like, I would now like to go sue somebody with you. Oh man, that would be really.
You already have a lawyer.
I know, but Avi, maybe we could do something like, can't you guys be co-counsel? How do you know Avi, by the way?
Avi is friends with a really good friend of mine. Avi,
not your ex-girlfriend's brother?
No.
Ooh, hesitated. Okay.
Avi's friends with a good friend of mine, and whenever I go visit my friend in Dallas, I see Avi.
Okay.
That's it.
Avi's in Dallas? I didn't even know that.
I am saying way too many things on this.
I love it. I'm going to be like, hey, Avi, how's Dallas, big boy? No, it's all good. I love Avi. Avi does a great job. He's really funny, and he actually kind of goes along with my antics every once in a while. He lets down the I'm the Esquire stuff and
That's
shoots the shit
good.
with me. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Okay, Jason, we're running out of time, and we'll have to have you back because this was, I thought, super fun. And
yeah, I love you. I already said that.
Okay, good. I love you too. How can people find you? How can they hire you for a class action or other? What kind of law? What kind of case do you want? Should we manifest for you? Like, what kind of case do you want to take on?
I don't want to manifest anything. I help people when they have real problems. So, if you have a problem with a big company, you should give me a call. I do solar panel fraud. People had a lot of fraud with regards to solar panel installations and tax credits there. Do a lot of auto fraud, a lot of just big companies that screw people over. Groupon screwed my sister over. I filed a class action there. We settled very nicely.
So you're rich too. So no wonder you're in New York for the summer. Are you in the Hamptons or where are you?
No, I'm in Manhattan in this tiny exposed brick apartment that you can see.
Oh, in Soho, freaking
in the Upper East Side. In the Upper East Side, I do some sophisticated business disputes.
Poor baby in the Upper East Side.
The Upper East Side well enough to make that pouty face? I go to New York
all the time. I go all the time. I was just there and I'm going back in like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, I love New York. Okay, so basically if the little guy has a problem against the big guy, call Jason. What is your Instagram?
My Instagram is my legal name, Jason M. Ingber. My website is jasoningber.com.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marley, for having me on this wonderful show.
I loved it. Loved it. I'm going to call Avi and tell him I'm having an affair with my new friend in New York on the Upper East Side. I'm going to ask Avi how Dallas is. You guys, I hope you comment and tell Mr. Jason here how great this segment was. I hope you follow him. I hope you follow me. Follow me on @thepartygoddess on Instagram.
Yeah, follow Marley, the party goddess.
Follow Marley. And then please subscribe to the show. And Jason, what's your podcast so that they can follow your podcast?
It's the Jason Ingber podcast.
Okay, not the Jason M. Ingber podcast.
You're very
just
quick.
Checking.
You're very quick.
I am very quick.
You had a few of those jokes. You rang a bell back to Santa Monica, Toyota. We brought up creatine a couple times. You're quick. You're quick, Marley. I like it.
On another note, Jason was great. You guys follow the show. Please rate it 5 stars. It's great to have you. New bestie. Enjoy Upper East Side. Boo-hoo. Talk to you later. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.